It is clear Mexico has advised that their investigation is complete. They have identified a suspect. That suspect is currently out.
According to the latest update about Shanquella, it seems like justice is finally going to come her way and Dejanae is soon to be arrested and extradited to Mexico to face trial for the demise of Shanquella Robinson.
The suspicious death of Shanquella Robinson. It's been more than 4 months since she was found dead at a resort in Mexico. Now her family is calling for the U.S. government to step in.
The BC News reported that the family of Shanquella Robinson was demanding justice more than 125 days after she was found unalived at a luxury resort in Mexico. Robinson's family and their attorneys gathered at a press conference in Washington, D.C., and demanded a diplomatic intervention by President Joe Biden and the State Department to help assist in her case. When Shanquella's story started quitting down, her family retained two of the most renowned civil rights lawyers in the country to help in the case, Benjamin Crump and Sue Ann Robinson. Turns out even after 5 months of having the case, the government wasn't really giving it the attention it needed and Shanquella's case was slipping away silently. Attorney Ben Crump said at the press conference, 15 weeks and 3 days with all this visual evidence. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been arrested. The press conference took place in front of Ben Crump Law's D.C. office with the turnout of a lot of supporters for the family who felt as if her case was being ignored by authorities. I plan on talking to the highest levels of our government to say Shanquella Robinson is not irrelevant and you all need to give her the same dignity and respect as any citizen in the United States with merit. Crump said. Crump and Robinson spoke at a press conference in Washington, D.C., where they called on Biden and the U.S. Department of State to take action, saying that it was not right that the suspects and the people involved with Shanquella's demise were sleeping comfortably in their beds at night while her family was going round in circles trying to find justice for their daughter. The only question is State Department. President Biden, what are you going to do to bring justice for this broken-hearted family, especially this mother of Shanquella Robinson? Crump said while standing next to Robinson's mother and sister. Crump and Robinson called on officials to either extradite the person named on an arrest warrant issued by Mexican officials or to take over jurisdiction and prosecute that person in the U.S. Robinson's family have been waiting for justice to be served on their daughter's behalf to no avail. Robinson's mother, Salamander Robinson, also continues to fight for justice for her daughter, and she also thinks that her daughter's case is not being taken seriously. No one has been arrested, Salamander Robinson said during Friday's press conference. The people who knew what happened to my daughter are living their lives. They have returned to work and my family is left to wait to beg for answers. To her, it was already crystal clear who needed to be punished for her daughter's demise because just like the rest of the world, she also saw the leaked video of her daughter being mauled mercilessly by one of her friends. I don't wish that terrible nightmare on anyone. My daughter was brutally beaten on a video. She was undressed and there was many people that could have helped her. They laugh and joke, Salamander Robinson said. The other attorney, Sue Ann Robinson, returned from a fact-finding trip to Cabo ahead of the press conference, and she said that the Mexican authorities had told her that all of their investigative materials had been sent over to the United States through Interpol.
Mexican authorities say they have a suspect in this case, but that suspect lives here in the U.S. The victim's family wants American authorities to hand this person over to Mexico.
Although there have been no arrests, Mexican authorities said the investigation was ongoing and an arrest warrant had already been issued for a suspect back in November for the crime of femicide, a form of gender-based violence, according to a local prosecutor. Daniel de la Rosa Ania, a local prosecutor for the state of Baja California Sur, claimed that the warrant was issued for an unnamed alleged perpetrator, a friend of hers who is the direct aggressor. Mexican authorities have requested that the suspect be extradited from the U.S., but legal experts say it's unusual for the U.S. to extradite its own citizens. It's not clear why America would extradite their own citizen to Mexico when the deceased was also American. It would have made more sense for her to be sent to Mexico or even face trial back in America. In a statement to ABC News, a State Department spokesperson declined to confirm or comment on an investigation into Robinson's death, citing privacy and law enforcement considerations and referred questions to the FBI. The Department of State has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas, the statement said. The Department of State supports a thorough investigation into the circumstances of this incident and is closely monitoring local authorities' investigation. When the Department of State didn't have anything important to tell the people about Shanquella, the people turned to the FBI, who had claimed they were involved in the case already, and an FBI spokesperson said the Bureau's investigation was still ongoing. The FBI said when initially opening the investigation that it had been sent the viral video of Robinson being attacked in her hotel room in Cabo, and the public was also able to see the video when multiple news outlets published screenshots of footage showing a naked Robinson, barely verbal, being hit and punched in the face multiple times by another woman until she falls to the ground. Another person behind the camera is also heard saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" But she doesn't seem to want to fight back. Robinson's lawyer said that the woman seen attacking Robinson in the video was the same person for whom the arrest warrant was issued. The name of the suspect on the warrant has not yet been released publicly by authorities, though lawyers involved in the case have named this person and literally everyone knows who it is from the fatal video. Before an arrest can be made in the U.S., officials must determine whether the arrest warrant issued by Mexican authorities has merit and whether to extradite a U.S. citizen for a crime committed against another U.S. citizen in a foreign country. If a U.S. arrest warrant is issued, the defendant can fight extradition and ask to be tried in the U.S. It is now up to the United States government to make the determination as to whether or not they will prosecute the crime here in the U.S. or whether they'll extradite this individual back to the Mexican government for prosecution, said Chana Lloyd, legal analyst said. Robinson of Charlotte, North Carolina, was found dead in San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, in October during a group trip where she and her acquaintances traveled for vacation. The group allegedly blamed Robinson's death on alcohol poisoning and even lied to authorities and Shanquella's parents about her real cause of death. However, amid their lies, an autopsy was sent to Shanquella's family and it concluded that she had suffered trauma to her neck and spine. Additional reporting uncovered a police report indicating that Robinson received hours of medical treatment before she died, and this report says she suffered from cardiac arrest. The killing of Shanquella Robinson is being investigated as a femicide, an unfamiliar term for many in the United States, as this gender-motivated crime has not been defined by U.S. legislation despite being a global issue. Unlike Mexico and other Latin American countries, the U.S. does not have a law recognizing femicide as a different crime than homicide, which several experts say does not mean that killings targeting women are not happening in the U.S. at alarming rates. Her case should not even be considered as femicide but homicide whether or not it was a female who was seen hitting her. Her friends, the Cabo Six, were watching and actually cheering on as their friend was pummeled to death. They need to all face trial for their actions either in Mexico or the U.S. Shanquella's family is asking for anyone who was involved in the trip to be extradited back to Mexico and face charges. Salamander Robinson even wrote a letter on behalf of their family, urging authorities to take swift action. The letter said, "I write today to beg you with every ounce of energy I have left in my body, please don't forget about my daughter Shanquella Robinson," the letter wrote. She then added, "We're coping the best we can. We are keeping our heads up, we are keeping faith, but it's hard. We need clarity, we need action, we need intention. And most of all, we need justice for Shanquella." More people are interested in the Shanquella's case, and in the past few months, 2 rallies, a birthday memorial service, and a funeral spurred hundreds in Charlotte to call for justice. A fan on Twitter said, "Shanquella Robinson update, Mexico has issued a request for extradition of a suspect but U.S. authorities are allegedly stonewalling the family and keeping them from getting justice." Another said, "I really hope authorities are putting in the work behind the scenes to bring justice for Shanquella and her family. The public has been so connected to the story that a lot of folks are starting to lose the faith since no recent public updates have been announced." Anyways, let's not forget that this video is based on theories and my opinions and should not be considered facts. That's it for this video. Bye.